All right, guys.
Welcome to the Deer Shop Podcast, presented by Siman Brothers Outdoors and the Leaky John Boat Company.
He went and watched a movie that has a $200 million production budget, and then the next thing he watched was our video on YouTube that has a $0 production budget.
This is the first buck I've shot in over 10 years.
Your track job was the first fun track job. That kind of like, I think part of my life was influenced by that night.
Then you miss him 3 times with a rifle at 70 yards on video and the whole world to see.
That's what Caleb did. 5 years ago, we couldn't shoot a deer at 100 yards with a slug gun. Now you're shooting turkeys at 100 yards with a shotgun.
Joey takes
The shop is closing up.
Make sure he takes all his right antlers. You can't leave it.
All right, guys. Deer Shop Podcast, episode 101.
We are in triple digits, everyone.
It is. We are in triple digits. It's triple digit temperature in here right now.
It is hot.
Freaking hot.
It is noon.
I'll hold the swearing a little bit if you're listening with your grandkids. It is freaking hot.
It is noon. It is 90. We don't have fans in here because we're idiots. We got all the doors open.
July 6th.
July 6th. Happy birthday, Tyler Arters. You haven't been on the podcast yet, but you're one of our boys, and hopefully soon we get you on.
Happy birthing day.
It's hot out, and we're doing the Hot Topics podcast. This one's going to be fun. If you listen to this podcast is going to be designed for dudes who listen to recent podcasts of other bigger, larger podcasts. You know, if you're in the what's the word I'm looking for? If you're in the hunting if you're someone who uptakes hunting culture on YouTube or Spotify or whatever version.
Basically, hunting social media.
Yeah, if you're a hunting social media guy.
The content.
Yeah, Facebook, any of that stuff. This podcast will be for you. We're going to hit a lot of those types of topics. If you're a local guy, we're going to hit some topics that are relevant. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
Well, that might be my first rant is there's a lot of people out there that say they don't. Like they say they don't watch YouTube, social media. Like they don't see the hunters, but then they know about everything.
They know about
everything. They still know. They still do. So I would say most hunters consume some sort of
especially
media.
now in the mobile phone age. There's people uptaking something.
Even if it's just to learn how to do something or use something. Or
Yep.
Everybody's watching.
Before we get into that, though, let's go over some local stuff like we always do. Your wedding's over.
Thank the Lord.
Your wedding is over. Congratulations, Isaac's
I'm
married. He's gonna downfall like the rest of us now.
Yep.
It went well. It was super fucking hot.
Just
Damn
like
it!
today.
I made it 2 minutes and I swore.
It's all right.
Super hot, but it was just like today. But it was good. No drama. Nobody fought. No one got too drunked up except for Ballard.
It was all good.
It was good. It was a very good time. If you're listening, I sold the Wise Eye cameras I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. A young man named Luke Miller came up here, grabbed them. So thank you, Luke, for buying those cameras. We put out a bunch more Wise Eyes recently. We're kind of down some. We're having some problems with the minis for some reason. I'm gonna wait till business hours to figure that out.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to your Wise Eye podcast full through, but how many are we running now?
I think we're back up to about 20 something.
We can look at the app.
20 cameras?
Somewhere around there.
I have one.
We took a bunch off, or we took 4 off, and then added. Ethan bought like 6 more, I think. So I think we're at the most we've ever been running right now, 20 plus.
Did you guys break down how much it costs?
Yeah, it was $7 a camera, $7.15 per month after you buy the camera up front.
Huge savings when it comes to like Tacticam.
Even during November, when we were like November, December, January, when we were requesting videos from scrapes and running cameras on bait, it only got up to like $8.60 a camera. So like,
because I'm pretty sure the 2 reveals I had before we switched to Wise Eye, it was $29 for 2 cameras, so $15 a camera.
Yeah, for unlimited.
Yeah. So
we never needed unlimited, though.
So we are saving a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the most money we spent, we talked about in that podcast, but the most money we spent in 1 month was like $123 for 20 plus trail cameras in the woods. I mean, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad.
No.
That would cost it. Yeah, that'd be $400 or $500.
Yeah, Spartan and I know there's a lot of different ways to skin the Spartan cat. We didn't talk about that a lot, but there's
when it comes to
you can get
business
credits,
you
can get business cell phone plan. I don't know, but the Wise Eye just makes it so incredibly easy.
And for Tacticam, you couldn't do any of that. You had to pay.
Yeah, and customer service is so nice. So the owner of Wise Eye cameras, the guy that developed them and owns the company and is the driving force behind it, listened to our podcast and called me on the phone and just chit-chatted about what they're doing. So they got some new stuff coming up. Maybe I'll try to get some of those guys on the podcast. Maybe
all that stuff he's sharing with you, is that like not supposed to share that, or
No, it's a lot of it is stuff that we talked about wanting to do that you technically can do with the app, but a lot of it is we don't run our cameras on a setting that allows us to make changes in real time because of the battery issue. But if you have your camera set up for like watching over your food plots when you're hunting and stuff, you can have it set up basically like a go live where you can start recording video instantly,
wherever you
video, yeah, stuff like that.
and like the white flash thing, can't have white flash.
He said that they've been trying to develop a white flash, but the problem is if it takes a lot of pictures, say you're on
A mineral or something.
yeah, it heats up the motherboard so much because it has to charge an LCD flash or an LED flash, and it was melting components inside, and they weren't able to get a lot of reliability. Over time, they would last about 6 months and things would start melting and getting broken inside. So they weren't able to offer up a product that was good enough to do what they wanted to do. I told him if he's ever wanting to get rid of some of those white flash prototype cameras, I'll just buy them from him. Even if they're non-sales.
Yeah, and we'll set them up
Yeah.
somewhere where they don't take
Right.
a lot of pictures.
Yeah, like
Because holy shit, the old covert white flash days.
they were awesome.
Yeah.
And Spartan has the ability to have white flash cell cameras now, which, you know, they're in competition with each other, so I don't know. They're sharing.
Larger and more expensive.
Yeah.
And so
But they
can
do take some pretty cool pictures. Speaking of white flash, we were originally going to have Danny Svoboda and the fireworks buck on this week because it's the 4th of July week. He's fishing with his family this weekend, enjoying the good weather, holidays, all that. So we weren't able to get him on. I'm going to try to get him on for next week if I can. So you guys will hear all about the famous fireworks buck. Our buddy actually killed it. So that world famous photo that's floated around the internet for 11 years now.
I didn't see it floating around much.
No, it's dead. It's
dead.
Yeah.
So many people have recreated it, and it's been 11 years since I got it that it doesn't hit popular culture like it used to.
Jim Shockey shared it once.
Jim Shockey, the Drurys, I mean, Lee and Tiffany. Back in the day, everyone was sharing that
one
photo.
Michigan, or is it Michigan?
It was like 3 million shares or something insane. It
That
was
Yee Apparel also shared it.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
Granger Smith.
Granger Smith.
Earl
Yeah.
Dibbles Jr.
Earl. My wife makes fun of me because I call him Earl Dribbles, but yeah. So a lot of people shared that. It wasn't shared 3 million times; it was seen 3 million times. But yeah, that picture obviously there's a lot of story behind that. We have never really told it on a podcast. We've never really done a good video about it, but the podcast will be the perfect time to share the entire story.
Because there's a series of pictures.
Yep, there's like 12 pictures from that night. There's cameras stolen. There's a whole. The story goes forever. It's an awesome story.
And I've yet to see a picture that can really compete with it.
No.
I know there's been a couple that have been.
Well, there's
close.
only been a few white flash pictures ever taken. So there's not very many white flash, and the ones that are, there haven't been very big bucks. And there's been some cool ones with infrared video and stuff, but they're
And I've seen nowadays
AI.
Yeah, you can't believe anything because of
Fucking
AI.
AI.
I saw a video the other day that was posted, and it said like, "Oh, happy 4th of July," and it showed this buck that was like tipping out of its velvet. So it was a September picture,
Right,
and it
right,
shows like a perfect video in the background of fireworks going off. I'm like,
Bullshit.
that is the fakest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was on one of the huge pages.
Often replicated, never duplicated, the famous fireworks buck photo.
That's right.
I'll give some credit where credit is due. I believe it was either Pat Howard, who works for Tacticam. If you're in the trail camp industry, you know who he is. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or Clifford Martin, the owner of Radix, or maybe Rob Bailey. He's another big outfitter guy. Oklahoma, runs a lot of trail cameras, monster bucks. Those three guys were part of a Facebook group with me and an email thread back in 2014 and 15 when we were doing this stuff. And they set the idea kind of in motion. It was like, let's try and get this. I don't know if I was the original person to think of that idea. I think people were trying to do it for a while and weren't getting very good results, or their pictures just weren't that awesome. Mine just happened to be perfect. And we'll talk more about in that podcast. There was cameras stolen that night. They were on video mode, not far by, that not too far off there, that probably would have had some sweet video. I found some cameras later that had been stolen, and then you can see where a four-wheeler crashed into a tree and they lost the camera. There's just all kinds of stuff. Our good buddy Danny Svoboda killed that buck. That's how we met him, actually. There's just a lot. So
the property has changed owners and stuff over the years, but we might have an inn back there.
we're gonna duplicate it next year. So if I had to buy something that's not a Wise Eye with a white flash, like a Spartan Lumen or two, before next year to duplicate the picture, I will. We're going to do it again next year. I'll talk about that.
Yeah, long story short, we lost that property. Fireworks still go on there. Property, we have access to it again. We can't hunt it.
Yeah.
But we can get in there. So maybe next year. We'll see.
We also have a Creators Roundtable podcast coming up soon. I'm going to have Aaron Olson, Matt Williams on. maybe even Joey Pavlovich, if I can talk him into it. Just kind of like a bunch of YouTube and Instagram and podcast creators together talking about deer before deer season starts. I might have we talked about doing a outside opinion on our farm podcast. We're going to have some guys come in, walk our farm a little bit, and then podcast about what they think based off our historical stuff. So I'll have them form all their own opinions while walking it, make notes, and then when they talk about this area or that area, we'll give them.
Yeah, and right now is the perfect time. Farmers are harvesting crops.
Yep.
Lots of action going on.
Yeah, and I told them we're not going to dive into bedding areas. We're not going deep in the woods. I'm not walking them down every single deer trail.
We're not doing it
I
in
can
September.
give them a side-by-side ride, show them some stuff, show them our plots, show them areas, give them an aerial view with the drone, and then we can go over it.
Yeah.
I also have the Wild Time TV boys scheduled up. I got to find the exact date, but we're going to podcast about our fair booth coming up and get that released prior to the fair this year. We'll probably podcast at the fair with some people. I might invite some guys in that are going to be around that week to jump in on our podcast, and we'll record some stuff from the fair booth. But this year, I want to get our fair booth podcast in before the fair so that people can hear it, see it on YouTube, and come see us at the booth.
Yeah. Because
we're going to have a booth for a week at Medina County Fair for the third year, sharing it with Wild Time TV. It's going to be a double-sized booth. All our filming setups will be in there. Throughout the week, all the brothers will be there. All the Wild Time TV guys will be there. There'll be some guys from our crew there for sure. A couple days just hanging out.
We'll have some taxidermy. We'll have some
have
camera
deer,
setups.
Yep, we'll have deer on display from last year. We'll probably have some of our greatest deer on display. Freak Daddy and Hook will be there, I'm sure. Maybe even Traveler.
We'll have some videos playing.
We'll have videos playing on the TV. It's going to be a fun week. I took the whole week off work, and Lindsay actually she's only working the first 3 days, so like I know the audience don't care. But long story short, I have the whole Thursday through Sunday to really get involved with the podcast and the audience. Blair will be up in the booth if you want to meet my daughter. She's a lot of fun, little stink.
Yep.
But yeah. So, Hot Topics podcast. We're going to start busting into some of this stuff. We decided, besides like big time celebrities and YouTube channels, we're not going to mention any names. I know there's going to be some guys listening to this podcast that know that we're talking about them and know that they're talking about things that me and them have talked about. But I want the audience to have a clean view going into this podcast, form their own opinions, not jump on the bandwagon of guys you like or guys you know or your neighbors or people you have heard of us talk about before. So we're going to keep names out of this. I'm going to mention one name, though. Like I said, pre-podcast, we're talking about Gullet real quick. Tyler, I know you're not even listening, but he says we always like to bitch about something. Yeah, it's not bitching, but we don't run the Butterflies and Dandelions podcast here at Siman Brothers Outdoors. We're obviously very opinionated people. We've been making YouTube videos for 16 years now, and this is going to be almost year 3 of podcasting. We obviously like talking. We like being in the public eye, doing our fair booth, doing booths. We work for a public job, and we're in front of people a lot. We used to run Medina County Hunters. We used to do banquets. We used to do bow shoots, all this stuff, because that's the kind of personalities we have. So if that irks you and you have a problem with it, maybe you should listen to one of the podcast,
the Sweet Clean podcast.
Yeah, one of the Sweet Clean, maybe PG. Watch Bear Grease, because I love that podcast. Yeah. And Bear Grease is the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. Brent and
they have
Clay.
They have a
guys.
PR firm, as big as this house, watching their shit before it gets posted, just to make sure it's all good.
We are a bunch of white trash hillbillies in an old shop, drinking beer, talking about killing mediocre bucks every once in a while.
Yep,
that's what we are. And that's what you're going to get.
And I think we're one of the only people that really post everything, real life, what we're doing, what happens.
We're going to get into that for sure.
It's a whole nother rant. The perfectness of social media and the internet is sometimes irritating, because you try to go out and mimic that, and it's impossible because stuff is always going to go wrong.
We're going to get into that one for sure. That's one of our hot topics. I want to start with something that's near and dear to my heart. We've talked about it probably 20 times on the podcast. It's a great topic. Some of you guys might be a little bit annoyed by it, but we're going to keep going with it. And that's managing expectations on private. We get lumped in, and I've said it before, and a lot of repeats here. If you're a habitual listener, you're going to be like, God damn it, they're talking about that shit again. Mm-hmm. But we get lumped in the same category as anyone else who hunts private farms that they own. Lee and Tiffany, Mark Jury, Bill Winkie, all the big names that kill giant bucks on their own farms, all the Midwest whitetail guys, which is probably our number one influence, is just the Midwest whitetail style shows. We get lumped in with that. These guys are doing it as a job in Kansas, Iowa, Oklahoma, Illinois, Missouri.
Yeah, it's a business. They have to
It's a
make business
business.
decisions.
They're in better, that they make business decisions on their hunting land, which makes their hunting better. Obviously, they're killing 160 plus inch bucks every year, up to 200s, just massive whitetails leading the industry. Being private land hunters, we get lumped into that category. And I just want people to understand that we are just like you listening. You're driving in your truck right now on Monday morning to work. We're just like you. We are working class dudes. We all have 2 jobs. You know, all of our wives have a job or 2. We volunteer our time. We are making these videos because we enjoy it so much. We are just normal blokes. We ain't rich. There is not a stream of money coming in whatsoever. We have fought sponsors for years. If you've noticed, and I hope you enjoyed the fact that we don't have ad reads right in the beginning, 9 minutes of ad reads like some of our buddies. That to me is
we were doing that.
No, I didn't say their names. The 9 minutes of ad reads, every person who listens skips them. So it's, to me, it's pointless to do them. I know that there's income coming in and it goes places, and I'm not opposed.
And it
to
does
that at all.
influence the listeners to go to that product.
Yeah.
So I understand
and we
where the money
use
comes
some
from.
of the codes that our buddies have. We use the hell out of your codes. So we
We use the
appreciate
Wise
that.
Eye. We use Premier Outdoors.
Our show just isn't going to have 9 minutes of ad reads. It would just hurt my soul.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not going to do that. We've talked about it, possibly starting that kind of thing, and we've gone against it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're average blokes. You got to manage your expectations. A recent comment was made to me, if I had that farm, I'd have it figured out in 2 years. Well, I'm 35 now, and I've been hunting since I was about 10, seriously hunting since I was 16 by myself. Do we have the farm figured out? Yeah, I can get a picture of a giant buck every year, and we can get shot opportunities. You know, someone in our family has killed a mature buck for,
Yeah, the last however many
I don't
years.
even, we'd have to go back. I mean, 10 plus years, a mature buck has died from our family on this farm. But it's not as simple as I'd have this figured out in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes constantly. I mean, constantly. And I'll put it in simplest terms for the audience. I find a scrape October 15th, 2 years ago. Random scrape. I throw a cell camera or I throw a trail camera up on it, and boom, bam, bing. Every mature buck is hitting it. A couple daylights coming through, chasing does in the background. Beautiful trail camera videos with sound of bucks pawing, grunting, snort wheezing. Holy shit. This is the magic secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we hunt in around that spot, end up killing a deer in that area. Everything's cool. Fast forward to early October, the next year, that I can see the remnants of that old scrape. I know exactly where it was. It was so hot last year. I put my trail camera up. I throw my Evercalm or my Buck Fever Synthetics or my Buck Butter or whatever scent I'm using, or no scent. Whip my dick out and piss in the thing. Whatever it is, I end up doing. I get 3 pictures over the course of 3
of a
weeks.
6 point.
But 100 yards down the ridge, I find a scrape when I go back to change the camera because I'm pissed. That's smoking. Put the camera there. Same story. It's not as simple as I found the magic scrape. I know I don't listen to as many tactic whitetail podcasts as some people do, but people talk on these podcasts like finding something like that is the standard. You have now figured it out. Mm-hmm. And that's just not how it works. There's so many different factors. Acorns not falling. Neighbors start cutting firewood close by. Crop rotation. Water dries up in a creek. New person moves in.
Property sells.
Nearby. Right, exactly.
Nature church opens up at the back of our property. Who knows?
How many deer have we had that wreck our property for a year or 2 and then don't come back and get killed a mile away the next year? Mm-hmm. I can think of deer last year. I can think of Megatron and that big Northside 10. Both deer that were on our property during rut multiple times, rutting their ass off. They got killed a mile away and never showed up last year.
And I'd love
so many things change.
I'd love to hear people's historical data. I know there's people that kill big deer out of the same stand year after year after year, but it doesn't seem like that's very common.
No.
Especially these public land dudes. So all these guys saying they're going out scouting. They find the perfect scrape. They find the perfect funnel. They find the perfect thermal hub. Yeah. Are they hunting that year after year
Whip
after
run.
year? Or do they just find that when they're scouting, they go hunt it twice, don't see anything, and then never go back there? Now that it's getting so popular, this kind of scouting out in public land and stuff, are these people historically going back to the same places and killing, or is that not a thing?
The ones that I talk to outside of our group, and obviously we know what our group does. Outside of our group, these guys that I talk to, it seems they're killing different places every year.
Yeah.
Every year they're killing different places because all the deer are different. Things are changing every single year. Nothing stays the same year after year after year after year. I mean, look at our I've talked about in some of our family dream farm videos, the north side stump lick. It's 11 years old this year. It's one of the stump licks we put in when we first started doing all the farm management stuff, which is about 10, 11 years ago is when we started the real farm management. That lick has not had a mature buck on it yet this year.
Nope.
Last year, it's where we had all the mature bucks on that side of the woods, and that's where we had the wolf for the first time, and that's where Spindles was, and all the other deer. They were hitting that lick. They were hitting it in July, I believe. So we're just now getting into the month of July. So we're hoping things change and follow that pattern. But it hasn't had nothing but spikes and does on it for the last month.
Well, and I know
the lick's been there for 11 years. The deer know where it's at.
To bring up what I said about historical, I know there is people that kill out of the same stand every year, but that's bringing the magic bait into it. There is a lot of people that kill out of the same bait station year after year after year.
There's something to be said. If you have decided that you want to kill, and I actually have this listed later in my podcast to talk about it.
June baiting.
Well, if you're a guy that wants to kill and you have a certain amount of farms or whatever every year, and you know that like you need to kill a certain quality deer and you're willing, you are going to spend the money on baiting. You are married to it. It is your thing. Yeah, it behooves you to bait in the same place year after year after year after year constantly, because the deer will get acclimated to it and you'll be able to kill there. And that's the way some people hunt, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I want to say something, because I know people that are listening might be getting a little bit frustrated. They're thinking, I know the reason. The reason is we're probably going in and pressuring some of those spots. So, I found the scrape when it was in action 2 years ago, put my camera up and got out of there, didn't disturb it too much. Fast forward to the next year, I go in there and make some disturbance or put a stand up or check that trail camera multiple times. The human scent and the human presence in the area might change the way the deer use it. That I 100% know that might be a little bit of the part.
Yeah,
part
but in our situation, we're here on a working family, small family farm. Our dad's cutting wood. We're swimming at the lake. The farmer's doing this. The farmer's doing that. We're riding side by side. It's the whole 9 yards. Play into that.
I'll die on the hill of deer personality. We have a deer, back here. There's 6 sheds. I'm missing one. The small shed from the gimp's missing, so I don't know where it's at.
I seen something.
It's not on this shelf. Regardless, I got 6 sheds from the same buck back here. He died wearing a set of antlers, which gives him, I have 3 years worth of sheds, 6 antlers. He died wearing a set of antlers. 4 years worth of antlers he had on this farm. He was at least 5 years old, because I don't have his first set. That deer was so predictable. He was bedding. I'm looking. I can see the tree he was bedding under when I bumped him multiple times. Right out the door from our shop where we're podcasting. Some deer are predictable, and he was mature and still bedding there.
And he ended up getting killed by coyotes. We think maybe got hit and taken away.
Infection. Yeah, something killed him before season.
Yeah,
close by, because I got pictures of him bleeding.
We just never found
his
it
right there. You have a deer like that in Hook, mounted behind the camera here. You can't see it. He's on the wall. He's the centerpiece of everything we've ever done. He's Hook. He's on our Siman Brothers Outdoors logo. That deer was just predictable as hell. He had all our spots, everything that's important on our farm. We have pictures of Hook there. He was a deer that was homebody here, lived here. It didn't matter what we did. That was in the heyday of me being an asshole all over the farm.
He was here.
He was still here. I shot him twice.
I shot him once.
Like that kind of deer. Those personalities exist, and those are the deer that we love, and and when they're big, it's even better. 160-inch buck. And then you got deer, like I talked about earlier, Megatron. That north side 10. There's a couple deer on here we have match sets from that were killed a mile away. They spend a lot of time on our farm, but as they mature, they find something better.
Yep, they leave,
something they don't like,
back.
Pressure. They move off and get killed somewhere else or get hit by a car. Unfortunately, the wolf last year, a deer we've talked about an exorbitant amount of times, he was kind of a homebody. About midsummer, he showed up and would just be here until after he shed. And it was in year 3 of doing that. Then he disappeared. So.
Allegedly got hit by a car and taken away.
Yeah.
Witnesses.
Yep. So
what was your
case in point was managing,
what was your point with that?
Managing expectations.
Gotcha.
So just because you own a family farm doesn't mean you're going to kill hundreds. In our case, we'd have to kill, in order to be perfect managers of a family farm, we'd have to kill 450-inch bucks every year.
Not to name names.
I know not 450-inch bucks in the block.
No.
Well, maybe this year.
And not to name names, but we have a friend that has a family farm now that he recently acquired. Is this year 2 or 3?
This is year 2.
2?
Second full year.
I know he tells us he hasn't hunted it much yet, but I don't know if he's the same person that said he would have this place figured out.
No, he's not. But he had 150-inch buck show up last year, I believe, during gun season, never came back. A bunch of up-and-coming 2-3-year-olds in the 120, 130 class, just like we do. He didn't buy a farm, put in a bunch of food plots, put up a box blind and a feeder and kill a 150. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
That just doesn't happen. But
All right.
we digress.
Speaking of killing to kill, next hot topic. Killing to kill. This one's come up a lot in our personal chats, in our group chats, in Facebook,
And I
social
think
media.
there's hugely different thoughts on this. Is it killing to kill at home, killing to kill on a trip, killing to kill on a cross-country trip?
I'm going to talk all about it.
Okay.
Killing to kill. Some guys have this thought that if they buy a tag, they got to fill it. And I don't. So let's preface this. I think you can do whatever you want. I am a firm believer is you have your ground and your stance and your hill, die on it. If that's what you want to do, if that's your style hunting, if that's how you hunt, if that's the way you've been raised and the way your family hunts, good. I am okay with that. This conversation comes up because most of the guys we spend time with want to kill big, mature bucks. They want to kill good deer. They want to kill a big deer. Everything they do is to kill the biggest deer possible, but then they end up doing some things that would take away the chance of them killing a big deer and or hurting the big deer killing in that area just because they have a tag or they want to fill it. And it's a huge topic. We've talked about it many times in our private chats. We've talked about it many times in this podcast. I have a hard time just have a hard time with killing to kill. I bought a tag. I'm going to XYZ state for a week, and I'm going to shoot the first decent buck or first buck, even 6-point spike, what have you, that shows up because I bought a tag and I want to fill it.
And it's hard. It's also hard not to be a hypocrite on this topic because we have killed to kill in the past, and we may kill to kill in the future as well.
Well, I think I think that we are the perfect ones to talk about it because we've gone full circle with it. I do believe if you've never killed a deer before or you've never killed a buck before, that you definitely need to kill a lot of deer and a lot of bucks, even if they're not big, to get into the mind frame, the mindset and the frame of mind of killing. You need to do that. If you've never killed an elk before while elk hunting,
this is part of my topic.
Yeah, please kill an elk. Please kill 5 elk. That is fine. If it's the first time that you've ever bought Western points and you're spending a week on a mountain in Utah dying in the heat and you want to kill your first mule deer, kill your first 5 mule deer. Where I'm coming from, my problem is guys that want to kill the biggest and they want to brag and they want to talk about being great hunters, how they're in the industry, how they're running a YouTube channel, an Instagram page, a podcast. They have a voice. They're getting paid some way through sponsors or advertising money. They have people looking up to them, also just killing to kill. And that's going to make me sound a little bit like Hunt Quietly. What a douche. And I have him listed to talk about later. But I just think...
Matt Ranella, right?
Matt Ranella, he's a fucking douche. I think that it's our job as influencers, someone who is taking the time and effort to put a product out for the public to watch. Some kid, Luke Miller, just bought these trail cameras off me and he's going to watch our podcast and watch our YouTube videos. I think we should set a good example. If you want to start killing really good bucks, you got to start passing younger bucks. If I'm going to sit here and complain that we had an outfitter for years on the next property over, kill 47 bucks over a 2-year span, lay waste to it, bring in outsiders, profit off the deer in the area, make our hunting worse. If I'm going to complain about that, I can't then hop on over to Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, West Virginia, and kill the first 6-point that walks by because I am that guy then. And I become a large hypocrite. And I won't let myself be a hypocrite. I'm a lot of things. But
a hypocrite's not.
But I'm not going to be a hypocrite on my deer hunting stuff. I'm going to stick to my guns. I don't need to kill a buck to justify myself at this point anymore. I don't think. I mean, I'm not. Caleb Simon has never been known as the giant buck killer. There's people that are. There's people that aren't. I would like to think that I'm known as a guy that every once in a while can kill a good buck, have a good time, be there with his friends,
put in
fellowship in
a
the
lot
deer.
of effort.
Yeah, put in fellowship in the deer shop, in the deer world, make some cool social media stuff. But I'm not the guy that's killing 150 every year. It's known. I'm 35. I'm not going to change that narrative, and I'm okay. I've accepted that. I'm not going to act like I'm that guy and then go out of state and kill a 2-year-old 110-inch buck. I'd feel really, really bad about myself if I did that.
But we have done that in the past, and it's hard to say you wouldn't.
Well, I have West Virginia listed
So
here.
you say you wouldn't, but I don't know if I say that I wouldn't. If we went to Indiana again this year, and that 3-year-old walks by, I'm probably shooting again. The deer I shot 2 or 3 years ago, whenever that was.
It would be, I'll be honest with you, it'd be very hard, very, very hard for me to pass that deer. And there's also a lot that goes into this. You know, you had to be able to, we had to do a age on the hoof, make a decision on whether he's an old enough deer and take a shot at him on an unknown deer in a short period of time. That's a little bit different than planned out killing of a 6-point.
Yeah.
But I do hear what you're saying. And I'm speaking, when I speak for me, I'm speaking for me, not us.
And same when
I'll get Isaac's, we'll get Ethan's opinion
Yeah.
on it.
So when it comes to me, I go out west a lot hunting. And this shed I'm holding is a 4-point side for a min elk. So I would be pretty stoked to shoot this in Montana, Idaho,
Haven't killed one yet.
Utah. Haven't killed one yet. But the people that live out there and hunt out there and love the public land and try to kill big trophy elk, this is the kind of elk that they hate us shooting.
Yeah.
Because next
Spikes
year,
are 6s, right?
next year this could be a nice big 6. But this is a mid. And to be honest, I don't really know how old a immature elk is. I'm assuming this is like a 2 or 3 year old.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about.
Because you have calves, and then the next year you have spikes, and then so 3 to 4. I'm assuming they're this size.
I know elk live a little bit longer than deer.
Yeah, then they start getting bigger. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think is when they're like big old 6x6
Spider bulls.
But if I go to Montana next year on public ground and this thing walks by, it's a 4x4 that's probably 180 inches, maybe 200 inches. Probably not even.
I don't even know.
I don't know how to score elk. I'm shooting, but the locals there might see that as, damn, you're killing one of our up and coming elk.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Like I said before, and obviously each of us are going to have our own opinion. Isaac's going to stick to his guns no matter what. Isaac has no problem calling someone a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But you've never killed an elk yet.
No.
Never killed an elk. Got to kill your first elk. When I bring up killing to kill, the guy, people that I'm talking about or influencers, and I don't want to think you guys are just thinking I'm talking about people we know, because obviously tongue in cheek, we are talking about some people we know a little bit, but this is bigger for us. This is the whole hunting industry as a whole. There's guys out there on social media and stuff. These are guys that have killed deer before. These are mature, these are grown ass men potentially just out there laying waste to deer because they spent some money.
And sometimes it's people that are doing it for a living.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they can get
Well, you brought up West Virginia. The last place we've all killed small bucks, me and you, is West Virginia. Mm-hmm. The last time me and Isaac ever killed immature deer was West Virginia. We were part of that culture. We joined that deer camp. This will be year 10. Or, no, this will be year 9. This will be year 9. We've gone down there. We became part of the gore camp culture. We got a bunch of pictures on this back wall here and sheds.
Yeah, anybody that's seen our channel has seen
everyone
videos
knows. Gene Gore, major influence on our life, the whole 9 yards. We love the Gores. They're our people. Some of our best friends in the world, we do anything for them, they do anything for us. When we started going down there, it was, you kill the first buck you see. If you want, you can buy a doe tag and then kill a second buck. You're down there for a week. You got to get your deer down. Over time, us running trail cameras, us chirping in their ear a little bit, seeing the deer that are there because we're filming and having encounters plus the trail camera video, we've completely changed the majority of the mindset down there. There's dudes passing 100-inch 8-points, 110 inch.
Never done that.
Never done that before, because we started killing some really good bucks down there. I killed a 130-inch 10-point. Gore last year killed probably mid 120s 9-point. There's a lot of older class deer that are starting to get killed. Acorn eating bucks from the hills with big old ridge top running bodies and hooves that we're starting to kill. We know they're there. We have a hit list of 4 or 5 killable bucks.
Yeah,
every
130s,
year.
140s.
Yeah, the Mountain Monster was 150, high 140s, low 150s buck for a couple years that we were after. I mean, these deer, we have learned that there is just as good a deer down there as there is up here. Even though we're only hunting for 3, 4, 5 days a year, we've changed the mindset, and that's part of hunter education. That's part of maturity growing up. I'm not coming on here to tell you if you're run a deer camp in Pennsylvania or Michigan or West Virginia, not to stop hunting the way you're hunting. Please do hunt the way you're going to hunt. Just don't complain that you're not killing a big buck if you're shooting young deer. That's basically what it is.
Just reap what you sow. So if you're going to be one of those people that shoots a smaller deer and enjoy it and think it's fine and advocate for it, don't come home and complain about other people doing the same thing.
Right, exactly.
That's what irks me.
Yep.
Because, and I will say, when it comes to these cross-country trips and sometimes these shorter out-of-state trips, when someone does kill a deer, it gets very exciting. Like, that can make the trip, even if it is just a 6-point. Like, going out there, tracking the deer, butchering it, getting it off the mountain if you're out west. Same when it comes to bear, elk, or whatever.
It's all situational. Ethan, what do you got to say about this? You're a guy that has not killed a mature buck yet or a deer out of state.
But you've been trying.
But you've been trying. So I want to hear what you have to say about this because you live in and amongst us. You know
I think it's if the deer, like, I'd be cool with shooting a 3-year-old if it did mature-ish things while hunting him. Not just standing under my stand looking up at me wide-eyed, just like running in a circle. Like if he hit a rub and he was walking a ridge and chase a doe, that'd be cool. I'd kill that 3-year-old, but like I'm not going to kill the 2-year-old that like is staring at me.
I mean, you took a wing shot at a 3-year-old that was 200 yards away from you last year with a muzzleloader.
I mean, that deer could have been 4.
Could have been.
In Kentucky.
It could have been a 6-point. He wouldn't have made any difference.
He's just so, and I love it
he
because
got so excited.
There's the different levels of maturity and excitement within our group. You know, it's funny to see it. You know, Luke is just a fucking stone cold killer. Mm-hmm. Just he shoots a deer, he's gonna kill it.
He also missed it.
You got me and you, Isaac, that do so much hunting in so many places and have killed so many
big
deer.
opportunity comes up. We fuck it up.
Yeah, sometimes we fuck it up, and sometimes we have greatness.
Yeah,
and then you have
magic.
Ethan, who he's the youngest of the brothers, and he hasn't killed any big mature bucks yet. So when he's filming a buck in a field, or he's doing his summer scouting, or he's shooting, he gets so excited, and the shaking is there. But I love seeing it.
The Kentucky muzzleloader was probably the most excitement when it came to failing.
I think Ethan. You know, I don't want to speak for my brother, and I'm cutting him off. I know there's gonna be guys listening who are like, Jesus Christ, kill him. I think the most excited Ethan's ever been in a stand in his life was the night that Luke killed Splits. And that Big 10 that we've already talked about.
145-inch 10-point, 5 feet away from me.
He's one of those deer I talked about earlier in the podcast that spent all year rutting here and then got killed a mile away the next year. He was feet away from a slammer. Might have been the biggest bow-killed buck our family's ever had, actually, close to 150.
Mm-hmm. I could have dropped a spear on him.
Right.
It was just too dark. I can't remember the situation.
It was too dark. And he was under tree. He was under brush.
Like, he was standing in the same spot where you shot the 7-point that you're like at 10 yards, but it was dark. We have trail camera video of him, and it was too dark to shoot. But man, what a beautiful buck that was.
I tried filming him. I was like, I can't look through my sight.
What you said is perfect. You talked about the deer doing deer things while killing. It's perfect because my next point is, and I think I can say confidently that this is an answer for all three of us, which is rare, that we have such an enjoyment out of the ambiance of deer hunting culture, deer camp, fellowship, making the videos, putting something out there that we can watch with our family and watch for the 1 millionth time in the shop. We have such an enjoyment of that we're not dependent on killing that 6-point buck that walks by just because we're hunting in Indiana for the first time.
I mean, I passed the buck in Kentucky last year, opening day.
Yeah, you wanted to kill him. You put in the group chat.
Just shoot him.
It was literally this big.
It was velvet. It would have been your first velvet buck.
I passed those deer in Indiana. I passed spindles. I passed that broken 10-point.
I mean, I lost my first velvet because I shot a tiny velvet buck in Utah.
He was way.
I know it's yet to come, and you guys will see it in the video this year. But there was another buck we had that size. Mm-hmm. I walked right up to him, 10 feet away.
Would you have shot him?
No,
he didn't.
I could have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Isaac's Western videos yet.
No, I got some video. Like he was from here to the wall away. He just let me walk right up to him. Up probably like 200 yards from where I shot that.
I mean, I do enjoy your answer. You know, a 3-year-old comes in, is eating at a corn pile at 20 yards. It just.
I mean, I did that, but.
You did it once, and you're like, yeah. And last year, how many 3-year-olds did we pass last year eating in our food plots or eating in our corn piles or running by during the run?
All of it.
Yeah.
I mean, probably combined 3-year-old passes at this table last year is, I'd say 30 or 40.
Yeah.
And the one buck was, it would have been my second biggest buck probably.
The split ear?
Yeah.
It would have been.
Got his shed.
Would have been my biggest buck by 20, 30 inches.
We're going to talk about him later in the podcast.
I passed on him at 10 yards with a muzzleloader in my hands.
We have 3 years worth of trail camera pictures now. He'll be at least 4 years old this year. I have one of his sheds. We haven't seen him in 30, not that I'm counting. We haven't seen him in 36 days.
We have written quite the few chapters for a heartbreak on this one.
Yeah, this is the heartbreak for Siman Brothers Outdoors. Here is Siman Brothers Outdoors heartbreak.
It happens every year, and the chapters are written on this guy, so we'll see.
That's part of, one of the things that we love, and, our group chat talks about, and we talk about it on our podcast and our videos, is we love building these relationships with deer. And every time one ends, we think the world's ending, kind of. But look at literally, I redid the deer shot back here. All these piles are matched sets that we found on our farm. I mean, there's 10, 11, 12 different match set bucks for 2-3 years worth of years. Yeah, so there will always be another deer. This is just the one for now.
Yeah, we'll find one every year to fall in love with and Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe
the Cinderella story will happen. Maybe
I think he's technically number 2 on our hit list. Maybe even number 3. I don't know. So probably number 1 is Jaws, but we have no sheds of him.
And I've been so busy this year, it's hard to even pay attention to what you guys are talking about half the time. I know Split Ear. Jaws, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Jaws is the buck. I'll show you some pictures.
Well, they have a rundown of deer.
He's the one that was a 10. He was a big 10 2 years ago. He was a big 8 last year. I call him Jaws because he showed up as a big 10 in velvet on our farm while we were catching sharks a couple years ago.
So that's Jaws, the 10, the Southside 10.
Yeah, but that was an 8 last year, though.
Yeah.
He didn't have
So we went from a
G4s.
10 to an 8. Okay, that's Jaws. All right,
He,
I know what
he
buck
by
that is.
far is the most mature and the biggest deer. He's going to be at least 5, maybe 6, and he's going to
And the problem is he doesn't really hang out on our farm.
He's spent less time over the years, so he would go from 3 years ago when he was just a really weak 3-year-old or a decent 2-year-old, probably scored 100 inches. He was velvet. He was here a lot. He was velvet.
Blew up to that 10 point.
Yeah, he blew up the next year as a 10 point and did spend some time in velvet here, a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there.
Early September, yeah.
And then he never showed up in velvet last year, but during rut.
Coke.
Yeah, how about a beer too, by the way, please?
What'd you call this earlier?
A fridge cigarette. A nice, crispy, cold Coke Zero.
He was last year a giant 8 point, probably like 140-inch 8 point. The mega body showed up during rut. Ethan Wynn bumped him twice. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that'll be our number 1 buck. We don't have a ton of history because he doesn't summer or winter much on our property. I mean, we have history, but we don't have sheds and stuff because he leaves during winter. But that'll be number 1.
but that is what we love doing. So, and
Old
nothing's ever
Split
gonna
Ear's number
change.
2.
We've talked about it ever since the hook debacle 10 years ago. We're not going to fall in love with a deer again. We're not going to do
No,
it. Every year we do it and we love it.
Yeah, I am no longer going to say that we're not going to fall in love with a deer. I'm going to take the opposite approach.
Yeah, I'm
I
going to
need
do it and I'm going to
find
love
me
it.
a couple girlfriends. You know what I mean? Get my heart broken. I'd rather just do it that
I'm
way.
going to do it and I'm going to love it and we're going to be heartbroken and it's going to be great.
Deer.
But there has been Cinderella stories. There's never been the perfect one.
Dad's buck's pretty. I mean, so we could talk about a couple of those. Perfect timing for it. There's been some pretty good Cinderella stories. I don't know what you would consider the perfect one.
Like the perfect one is years of history, sheds. He's our number 1. It's a beautiful filmed hunt. You kill him October 28th. Party.
Yeah.
Everybody's off work. It's Friday night.
Vomit. Wife gets mad. Traveler was close, but we didn't have any sheds. We only had 1 year of history.
We might have to do a separate podcast on the Cinderella story when it comes to us.
Fat Bastard would have been the perfect Cinderella story. I wasn't able to kill him the last year we had him on camera. Found both his sheds after that. Disappeared. Blah, blah,
gone.
blah. He would have been the perfect Cinderella story, not there.
Last year, the wolf.
The wolf would have been a perfect Cinderella story.
Traveler was close, but he wasn't even our number 1 that year.
It was either him or Fat Bastard.
Yeah.
They were neck and neck. There's always,
Obviously, Hook would have been a Cinderella
Hook
story.
would have been the perfect. I mean,
Freak Daddy happened before
we were filming.
Before we were old enough to enjoy it, basically.
Hook and Senior would have been perfect. The wolf would have been perfect. Fat Bastard. Those 4 deer, Hook, Senior, Fat Bastard, and the wolf could have been perfect Cinderella stories, and none of them worked out right.
But then the buck that outsmarted you 2 years ago.
Broken Tide. No,
Bird's Nest.
Bird's Nest. That would have been.
But Gavin, so we didn't have the perfect
It was
story,
Gavin's
but
Cinderella
Gavin
story.
ended up having the perfect story,
so.
so that was cool. You were able to kill No Name Niner with
I'm always
with a set of sheds.
I kill the third hit lister,
Right.
the third buck every year.
You were able to kill No Name Niner we have match sets. I was able to kill Dad's buck. We have match sets. So there are some cool stories.
5x3, the 7. They were all number 3s.
Yep, you're right.
We can't kill number 1s, and once in a while you kill number 2.
Well, Split Ear might be number 3. He's probably number 2. Our last thoughts on
I don't
recent
know.
hit listers.
There's that one that showed
With
up.
our
There's
history and how he's showing up, though, he could be the Cinderella story this year.
He could, because we got stuff from him. The G3 buck, last year I referred to him a lot as the 4-year-old 9 because he had weak antlers, but he was
He
mature.
had his match set.
He'll be 5 this year. No, I don't have any sheds from him.
No, not that buck.
Nope.
Oh, that was Wolf.
Yep. But the 4-year-old 9, weak antlers, showed up a lot last year. He'll be 5 years old this year. He could show up in October and be fucking 160 inches, and we're like, holy shit, because we've known that deer for a long time and had encounters with him. So that deer could jump up on the hit list. But
I don't even know anyone. So anyone locally? Do we know anyone locally that's done the Cinderella story?
Andy Kelly.
Yeah.
We weren't going to talk about names, but I mean, Andy, if you're listening, probably not. But I'd love to get you on the podcast. I know.
Yeah, but
50 times.
but
I'm
then
going to see you at the fair this year. You're going to walk by the booth. I'm going to say, "Hey, bro, you ready?"
But then he
Podcast
doesn't film
time.
it. He doesn't share the story. So like, it's the hidden Cinderella story, which that's his thing, which is cool. But
I mean, he holds multiple world records.
well,
I mean, it is what it is. Andy,
I want to see the Cinderella story done our way.
Split was pretty close with Luke's buck from 2 years ago.
Yeah, but no
I guess
sheds.
we forget about Luke.
Luke kills deer that he knows, but like
Luke's is like a side quest. He's like a side quest for us because he's never the center of attention, but then he goes and makes it happen.
Stone cold killer.
Yeah.
Like Nick had his story. Nick had his zoo buck situation. He had the 33 buck, 2 major bucks he's hunted over the years. It didn't work out. I'm trying to think. Like Dylan always finds a way to kill a really good buck, but it's never usually one that he has a bunch of sheds
and he's pretty
from.
secretive too.
His 200-inch that he killed that we're going to talk about in an upcoming podcast as well. He killed it a while back. That was a pretty good story.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know.
We're still seeking the perfect Cinderella deer story.
Well, that's what keeps it fun. And that's what falls into what I was talking about, how we love the ambiance, the videos.
And the cool thing about what we do is you have the potential to be able to do that every year.
Sitting right here.
Yeah.
Here she is. Happen. Possible Cinderella story on the table. Perfect segue. Let's talk about the deer shop. So, obviously we're the Deer Shop podcast. If you're listening, you need to watch our YouTube videos because
it really explains who we are, what we do,
yes,
how we work.
The YouTube videos have where we're sitting featured prominently. I have it written down here. What is the Deer Shop? The Deer Shop is the center of our group's local hunting everything. Mm-hmm. Isaac used a bunch of these antlers back here, sheds as displays on his wedding table. So I was able to go through and actually categorize and redo my display back here, the backdrop for the podcast. We have our personal bar. That's a Blanton's topper. We have our personal bar back here, but now I can actually, if you're watching on YouTube, these 2 shelves right here are match sets off historical deer from our farm that we found over years that have been living on our farm. I got down here below me, actually, I got Luke's deer from this year, which we need to get to the taxidermist. To the top left over there, I got Freak Daddy's sheds, which is the best Cinderella story, by the way. And I'll say for the first time in the history of the podcast, sue me, Nick, I got a shed from the rat buck up there. That's going to be its own podcast when I'm allowed to talk about the rat buck on the podcast fully.
We got a full story for that one.
I'll tell it because
I look for that deer every day.
Because there's drama, intrigue, fighting. UFC fighter threatened to fight me. I hope you're listening. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I was drunk. Threatened to get beat up.
You could have taken him.
No. Well, I mean, maybe just because of... No, I'm just kidding. He'd kick my fucking ass. The middle shelf up here is all the zoo sheds that Nick's allowed me to keep or hasn't come and stole yet, but those technically belong to Nick and Tyler, zoo sheds. That's where I found them. And then this right section over here is just random antlers we've achieved, found in other places, public land, people have given to us, farms that have sold, that whole 9 yards. But
some West Virginia
the deer
sheds.
shop is categorized.
Some Western sheds. We got some moose, some elk.
Yeah, there's a moose paddle over there. Oh, that entire box is
whole bunch of these.
West Virginia 6 points.
Yeah, we don't shoot young deer, but yet there's a giant box of young deer. Hey,
yeah,
do as we do now. I got some West Virginia sheds tied up there on the top. But yeah, the deer shop.
The only mounted deer that's in all the podcasts is Ethan's 2.5-year-old.
You know what though? I love it.
You might not be able to see
2.5-year-old crossbow cornpile buck out of an elevated blind.
Yep.
Hey, there it is.
There it is. The deer shop. We got couches, we got heaters, we got displays, TVs, bars, alcohol, coolers. On the other side, in the butcher shop section, which you don't ever see on the podcast, but you see in our videos, there's another 20 mounted deer, 10 turkey fans,
a bunch of deadheads,
15 bows.
So we do have a
golf clubs,
shit ton of turkey fans.
Yeah.
We used to kill a lot of turkeys. No one likes listening to turkey.
Nobody
podcast, but we used to kill a shit pile of turkeys. We just suck now for turkey.
You killed one this year?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah. You killed one this year.
Luke called it in.
I can never remember.
We have our buck parties in here. Big thing of what we do. It's something that needs to happen more. I hope that more people in the community start doing what we're doing. We've obviously adopted a lot of people into our group. Mm-hmm. Our group started as our family and the friends we went to high school with, and it's expanded from there. There's a lot of people now that show up for buck parties, neighbors, people we met online, locals, all that stuff. Everyone else should start doing this. If one of your friends kills a buck, hang that son of a bitch up somewhere and go stare at it and drink.
For 5
talk
hours.
about the shit that you've done that week or that year or that deer or old memories and just have a grand old time. That deer camp atmosphere needs to come back everywhere. And I think people would appreciate this.
The
shit
hunting
more.
community would be so much better if every buck got a buck party.
Buck parties. They need to happen.
Because this used to happen when you would go check your deer in.
Yes.
People would sit in their truck beds and talk to whoever. It was even random
Farmer
strangers
Bob
at that
down
point.
the street or some guy that moved in from Cleveland and shot a
we'd
deer
hang
in
out
his
at Mac's
backyard.
Meat Market,
Yep.
see all the deer coming in on a Friday night or Saturday night.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen anymore unless you do something like this. So more people need to do this.
And, you know, we've adopted a lot of people. It's not necessarily an open invite. Obviously, you run social media, so there's thousands, according to the guys that work, tens of people listening. It's not an open invite for that, but I've never told anyone they can't come to the deer shop. Is what I'm saying. You know, and these buck parties I think they're important. We love them. Obviously, there is a wall on the other side over there that shows every deer that's ever hung up, every buck that's ever been hung from these rafters, and the wall's filled. I gotta find out where we're gonna start putting the new pictures. We have filled the wall, and Cassick's buck last year that he brought over is the starting of the new wall wherever I make it. Okay. So yeah.
That's the deer shop.
But this is our personal club, our personal bar. We do all our podcasts here. We butcher every deer we kill in here. I don't know how many deer we've butchered in here over the years. A lot. Hundreds, literally hundreds.
Definitely hundreds.
Touch all our own meat. We just love it.
And this podcast area is relatively new as well.
Yeah, this is like
ago?
is like our third season of this
We used to
side.
just do it over there.
Pretty much since the podcast started.
Yeah, we built this and decided it was time to start recording.
So yeah, that's deer shop. What do we got next?
Internet dick measuring.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
we
So
go.
we were talking about this. It came up when we were sitting out here preparing for the podcast because we watched arguably probably one of the best. I can think of a couple more.
It's him and Chris B.
Yeah, him and Chris B. And they're both Kansas, I think.
They are both Kansas public land.
Chris B's is obviously a lot more believable because it was before he was famous.
He showed the road.
He showed all this stuff, but the Seek one, Lee Ellis, Kansas buck last year, where he just happens to sneak up within 20 yards of a 180-inch deer on public land. It stands up, he shoots it, it runs in a circle and dies in 5 yards.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. Is it too good to be true? Is it true? I don't even know what to say. Do we believe it? Do we believe everything we see on these big hunting celebrities?
Sometimes it's hard to believe that all this stuff is true, but there is a Randy Moss and Aaron Rodgers,
he does
Michael Jordan of all things.
Yeah,
and, Lee Ellis is probably, Lee Ellis when it comes to deer hunting is probably that Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Bird. When it comes to killing deer and people walking around on this planet, add in the fact that you're filming your hunts and you're running social media, he's the guy. It doesn't matter where he goes. He's the guy.
Yeah. And you want to believe it. You want all this to be true. You
Believing
want
would
there
make
to
it much more cooler.
We've gone full circle on Lee Ellis. We
Yeah.
used to not really like him that much potentially. And
But
like,
he's
we
made
were enthralled with him originally, and then it was like, man, this guy's kind of gay. He's hunting all this, city land, urban bucks things. But like lately, I mean, Lee Ellis, I've grown fond of him.
He's
That
put
dude.
some films together that were so well filmed, such a good story.
It'd be cool to one day have him on the
that
podcast.
you wanna watch it.
obviously that may not have ever happened, but just what a guy.
Yeah.
Just incredible filmmaking, killing bucks, building stories, the Cinderellas like you talk about.
And he was just a low-hanging fruit on the example we were talking about. How many of these videos can we watch and be like, these were legit? Because there's been times in the past, fuck Chris Brackett, where there's proof of him not being
cheating.
that guy. And when
Bomar's getting caught cheating and still to this day, plausible deniability. We were never convicted of an actual poaching. Shut the fuck up.
But you watch that Chris Brackett video where he shoots the buck and then he's screaming at his cameraman, he shoots the other one. That is not the only time he's done
No. He just got caught that one.
Yeah, and so who is everybody doing that? It's not like he was the guy for killing big giant deer all the time.
No, he just had a personality that got him famous. Fear no evil, bro.
Yeah, so who do we
Barrel
believe?
affliction.
Do we believe everything? Do you believe it until they're proven otherwise?
Let's talk about the trickle down. We are members of a bunch of different social media groups, right, that have things. Like there's this one I've been recently following. I joined a while back because it got shared. I don't know how I got, and I don't even know the full story behind it. And maybe it'd be cool to get this guy in the podcast now. I'm thinking about whoever runs it. There's this group called Wizard of the Woods on Facebook. Look up for the Wizard of the Woods on Facebook.
I've been seeing, they've been popping up.
They run these contests and there's tons of members and it's a very involved group and there's a lot of cool shit in there, but there's a lot of like dick measuring in there where there was a kill shot contest. There was one that sticks out to me, and I don't remember who posted it. It was a kill shot contest where you got to post a video of your kill shot and then the deer you killed and tell the story. This guy was telling the story on this kill shot contest, like, I found this scrape and the deer came in 2 or 3 days in a row. So I went in with a lone wolf early or something and hung a mobile set, and he came in. I was able to shoot him at 10 yards, just missed the shot off a frame. But I got the deer running away, and then it shows it, and as the deer's running away, there's a fucking corn pile the size of Texas in the background. Like, I can't stand these people that want to be cool in a certain way. They're putting on airs. I killed this public land buck on a whip rub on September 7th, with the
because that's the cool thing right now.
But in reality, when you get down to the nuts and bolts and the truths behind it, he was just baiting this deer for 6 months. Found a scrape nearby, had a camera on a scrape next to the bait pile, tells a story one way when reality was he was just baiting the fuck out of this deer and shot it eating bait and didn't want to put that on his kill shot.
I hate when people lie.
I hate when people lie. Just be fucking honest. And that's where that brings up the internet dick measuring. There's a lot of guys recently, seasons starting to, it's post-July, seasons are starting to ramp up.
Summer fever is here, but like, the season's coming, so people are getting their shit ready. They're trying to ramp up their own posture, basically, running into the
There's going to be some people listening who know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say a name, but there's a guy out there just posting all these giant bucks he's killed over the years.
He's posturing right now.
But he's got snide little tongue-in-cheek comments with each one, like Kentucky public land. This one ran into my arrow. This was the smallest one on my hit list, and it's like a 180-inch buck. Like, that kind of behavior, and I know who it has. There's an individual in a group that has endowed this guy to now think that he's a peacocking, amazing deer killer.
They're having him on podcasts.
And he does kill good deer, and you are doing the same thing we are right now. You're spreading your voice out there, and you're having your opinion. But this dude's just peacocking all over the internet, and all he does is just shoot giant deer over corn piles, which is fine. But
that's his thing,
likes to brag about how amazing of a deer killer he is when he's just harvesting cattle over corn. The dude baits more than anyone in the world, shoots a good buck every year, and size always trumps style.
Yeah.
In the end, if you kill a big giant deer, it doesn't matter how you killed it. Look at my 200. I shot it 27 minutes after legal with a crossbow on a snowy night over a bait pile, but look at my giant fucking deer. Everyone wants to kill that public land November 1st.
That's the
150-inch buck without any baiting out of a saddle. That's what they're trying to do.
That's the sexy thing right now.
And they're pushing it on the internet. But if you kill a big deer, it trumps all that. And a lot of these influencers, just so you guys know, I don't want to break your hearts. A lot of these influencers killed 1 or 2 deer that way, got a little clout, and just had to revert to killing giant deer over corn piles, talking about it in different ways because now they have to produce. They got to produce. I got to be an influencer. I got to keep up with the Joneses. I got to keep my standing up. So they're killing private land deer over corn piles, a lot of them in urban areas, even though they were known for maybe being a DIY, I'm a great public land deer hunter out of state. What they're actually doing now is just trying to keep up with the Joneses. Finding those genuine influencers out there is hard because the genuine ones are going to have a hard time keeping enough content up for them to stay relevant all the time. There are guys that are doing it, obviously, but few and far between.
Yeah, and like the huge example is THP when it comes to they're keeping it as genuine as possible, but they also have however many guys, however many interns, they're living on the road for 6 months out of the year just to keep up that ability to post that much content, doing it genuinely.
They kill a lot of younger deer that are smaller on public land, but that they stick to their guns. They do kill some giants. Last year, Ted killed like a 180 on public land. So when you hunt as much as they do, they're going to kill good deer. And I do like THP. They're one of those things that's so popular and so famous that you can have your opinion either way, and it can go in a million directions. But the one thing for sure is they keep it genuine. Yeah, I do enjoy THP. But back to the internet, the dick measuring thing. I guess it's probably because we're involved in it from a social media standpoint. We run a group. We run a couple groups. We got a podcast. We got a YouTube channel. So we're indoctrined to all this stuff, and we see it a lot more than maybe the average dude sees it. But lately, it's just been kind of miserable how people have been sucking their own dicks
just
all
the time,
just to kill a goat that lives in the woods.
I know I've talked about it on podcasts before. I hate the perceived experts. Like we tell people all the time, our podcast is for entertainment purposes. Sometimes we might have little bits of education there, but we're not experts on any of the stuff we're talking about.
I don't have a degree in wildlife biology. I'm a fireman. I break shit with an axe and drive around in a fire truck all day.
Yeah, so we're
that's
just
all I do.
We're experts on bullshit, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
But some of these people go kill a big buck, however they killed it, and now all of a sudden they're an expert.
And the reality is they baited it. They have this buck that they killed or bucks that they killed, and they're trying to tell people how to kill deer. It's corn, guys. It's corn. It is bait, corn, indoctrined deer. That's fine. We bait towards the end of the season every year.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of bucks on the wall from doing it. And we show the videos of us baiting.
We talk
and we
about
say, we're hunting over bait today. We don't try to hide behind this facade of I'm the greatest public land hunter of all time, but I've killed my last 4 bucks over bait. I mean, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I killed a mature buck over bait 3 years ago, 2 years ago. The one behind us.
5x3. Yeah.
And that story was completely told how we did it.
And it was perfect, too. That deer just showed up in broad fucking daylight, 6 years old with his weak-ass little tiny rack.
Weak
and
ass,
lean,
107 inches.
Lean body. Like, the dude had
a fun time,
saggy skin on his neck and jawline. He had saggy skin because his swollen neck from the rut had shrunk down to nothing, and he was just withering away, and Isaac smoked him. Matt Rinnella's a bitch. That's all I got written down here.
Yeah, what did he post lately that really irked me? It irked
he was
me.
happy.
Jay sent it to us, of course.
He was happy that the government got rid of like an angler recruitment program. He was celebrating the fact that the Trump administration cut funding,
defunded
to a group that it wasn't funded by the government. It was self-funded group for angler recruitment. Somehow went away for some reason, and Matt Rinella was happy that happened.
Because he wants less people hunting.
I don't disagree that crowding hunting and fishing sucks. We know. But as soon as people don't hunt and fish anymore and don't have a voice in it, it's gone, guys. It's going to be gone. Mm-hmm. The liberals and the tree huggers and the animal people will take over and make bear hunting. It's going to start with bear hunting. Bear hunting is going to go away.
Some states. Like
cat hunting's done.
Washington bear hunting, California cat hunting, all that stuff's gone.
Cats and bears can't kill them no more. Wolves cannot kill wolves. Dogs can't kill them. Coyotes, no one's really complained about that yet. It'll happen. But bear hunting will stop as we know it. And then it'll start spreading into fishing and deer hunting. Oh, it causes the fish pain to catch and release them. You got to catch and keep them. And then there'll be no such thing as catch and release. And then they're going to get rid of the catch and keep. You might as well just buy the farm-raised fish. Yeah. This shit's going to happen if we don't make noise.
What we need to focus on is sticking together as a strong team, being decent and polite in the woods when you do run into other people.
Yes. Even if it sucks.
Yeah, trying to be the best
Fuck, he's in my spot. God damn it.
Yeah, when we're elk hunting and there's a fucking person in every little valley and someone glassing on every ridge, just try to be decent. Try to help other people out. Don't run through a basin because you want those elk pushed to you on the other side.
Be decent.
Just be decent.
Be decent. Have a buck party. Take a picture for a guy. Help him drag his bear out. All these things that have happened to us.
I don't know if we ever told this story. It still irks me. Opening day, Utah, 2022. Me and Dylan. That's a long time ago. Yeah, it irks me because I remembered it the other day. Me and Dylan are hunting high country Utah, glass up a bunch of bucks. We're making a plan for them. We go back down to the truck several miles to re-up our water, get ready for the season. I think we had to grab our bows. We didn't carry our bows up. We run into a guy that tells us he has a muzzleloader tag. He's running water up the mountain for his muzzleloader hunt in 3 weeks. And he goes directly through where all those deer were. He knew they were there. He was pushing those deer off to the other side of the mountain so he could have a better chance at them during muzzleloader season. That is the shit I'm talking about. Be decent. Don't be that guy.
He also is probably a local guy that's like, dude, fuck these dudes from Ohio.
No, it's exactly what he was.
Fuck these assholes from Ohio.
But we have to be decent with each other, and that shit was uncalled for.
I agree. Be decent.
Opening day bow
Have
season.
buck parties.
Have buck
parties. Help a guy out. Don't be a dick.
Make your own deer shop.
Make your own deer shop.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I've written down here, and we didn't touch about any of your guys' things, but the last thing I've written down is, goddamn, is it a banner year for bucks?
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
We're working
There's some spots that are actually disappointing us right now.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's happening in Kentucky? And what the hell's happening in our new farm? Coyotes?
Yeah,
and
nothing.
6 points.
The last, 6 cameras I put out has been busts.
But then there's some other spots that are just like, whoa, whoa.
We're working through some velvet footage issues. We're working on getting some
Ethan's been doing a good job doing
Ethan's been filming a lot. He's learning.
He's doing good.
We're learning new camera
Found
equipment.
some very interesting bucks in the area that we're excited to keep watching, for the summer. After this podcast ends, I'm going to go get on the tractor, finish up some mowing.
We mowing plots?
Yeah, I got one more plot to mow, and then I might mow a little bit of some trails and stuff, and then
Cool.
cool.
I'm going to go swimming because it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought some trunks. I'm going to swim too, probably. Maybe drink a couple more beers. I don't know. Do you think I might drink some beers?
Probably.
I'm going to make Hooters buffalo shrimp tonight for dinner. I'm doing it.
Ethan's cooking me dinner tonight.
Yep.
So
And tomorrow.
Lindsay's making kebabs, and then I'm going to do buffalo shrimp on the Blackstone next to it, and then I'm going to... Oh, yeah, we're going to fucking Gore Farm tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
We're waking up tomorrow morning. We're going down south. We're going to do some cabin work, mineral lick refresh, move cell cameras around, mow a food plot, move some stands.
God damn, should we do a podcast about it? Probably should. Will we? Probably not.
There's a possibility that we could do a driving down the road podcast.
Do a driving home podcast. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Want to do that? Want to try it? Have it in the back pocket?
We've done it before.
I'm making an hour-long Gore Farm film to premiere in September this year so that it gets us juiced up, it gets the Gores juiced up, it gets the audience juiced up, and we're going to go down to the Gore Farm and we're going to film them motherfuckers killing 150-inch bucks.
So I got to get all the cameras. I got to get all the cameras charged up. We'll do some filming tomorrow.
I got all the external batteries charged to take down there for the cell cams.
Cool.
It's all good, man.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, listening. Deer Shot Podcast number 101.
Fuck Chris Brackett.
Yep.
Fuck Matt Ranella.
Yep.
We love all our friends. If you're still listening, all our friends that we may have been talking about without mentioning your names, you know we love you.
Oh, we jabbing at you.
We jabbing at you. But I don't want to just make it into a weekly back and forth with name dropping. You know who you are. We're having fun with it. I'm going to go mow some food plots. We're going to drink some beer, buffalo shrimp.
Good luck.
Ethan's hungover and dying over there. That's
over
why he hasn't said a word in this podcast.
And good luck to Born Again Kev on your elk hunt coming up.
When is he leaving?
I would assume September. I think it's a bow hunt.
Oh, we got a couple months left. We can talk about that. Maybe I want to get the boys in here anyways to talk about their.
But
shit,
I know right now he's training, so he probably wants to hear it. Keep running.
I get these funny.
Don't stop running.
I get these funny
running.
tranny Kev videos all the time when he's working in the shop. He called that Mike Lee like 1,000 times and left him voicemails.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good dude.
Cinderella story.
All right, Deer Shot Podcast. We're out.
Out.